Hello and good afternoon everybody, and welcome back once again for another video of DIY investing. Over the last couple weeks, I've talked very in depth of two different high cap cryptocurrencies, and I've also given you guys some updated analysis that follows with price targets moving forward. Now with those price targets, I've received a lot of backlash from a lot of different people inside of the cryptocurrency community. Many people just don't find the likelihood of XRP hitting $28 or even Ethereum heading towards 10 to 20,000. So for today's video, I'm actually going to be diving in and sharing with you guys my exact reasons why I believe that these cryptocurrencies are headed for multiple $trillion in market cap. Many people will sit here and watch this video and just write off the possibility, but you got to remember that most of the people that are commenting on my videos and most of the people that are very opinionated are the same people that usually bought the top of the last market cycle or weren't even here to experience what 2017 was like in general. I've been here since 2016. I've seen how the market cycles portray and how they play out. And it's for those reasons that I strongly have high confidence in what's going to happen with some of these market cap coins moving forward in the next cycle. You got to remember, guys, I remember watching XRP back when it was less than a cent, and then it went all the way to $3.80. I remember getting into cryptocurrency and buying my first Ethereum at $8 and seeing it skyrocket all the way to $1,450 in about a year's time. So to whoever is sitting here telling you guys that these price targets that I'm giving you are just completely unrealistic, obviously doesn't know the capabilities of cryptocurrency and don't quite understand the fundamental aspect that cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology possess and pose on the real world today. With all that being said, guys, I have started my pre-sale for my video course and signals. You guys can check that out in my announcements on Discord. Make sure you click the invitation link in the description of this video so that you can get access to my Discord server. Currently, we have over 750 members, and it's growing very, very quickly. After we hit about 1,000 members, I'm going to start... After we hit about 1,000 members, I'm actually going to stop sending invitation links to join because there's just going to be too many people. So that make sure you guys jump in now while the opportunity is still here. Remember, guys, until the new year, January 1st, 2020, my signals and my video course is going to be 50% off. And so you guys really want to check that out. Get on the pre-sale list, because if you join and get on the early pre-sale adopters list, I'm actually going to be giving you guys a lot of extra free content that won't be offered to anybody else that signs up after the new year. If you're new and just finding this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more content like the one provided for you here. Click the notification bell so that you get updated with every single update that I post, because it's really important that we're all on the same page moving together as a community here at DIY Investing. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much. Let's jump right into this video today. Alright, so to start off this, we're going to quickly go over some technical analysis inside of Bitcoin because something interesting is happening. Now, not much has changed since my last update. Remember, guys, I'm a long-term investor, and I do know how to day trade, and I know how to trade the markets as far as that goes. But I like to stick to the long-term trend, and that's what I like to update on my YouTube channel, because the average person in crypto just quite doesn't understand how to trade fully. And so the best thing that I can do for you guys is explain a simple format that's easy to follow along with, and that's really my ultimate goal here at DIY Investing. Now, if we dive in here, we're going to see that not much has changed since my last update. Realistically, we're still just trending below this descending resistance. This is our bearish trend, and it's a very strong bearish trend. We've had about 4 or 5 different rejections off of this descending resistance, and this has really sent us into a really low bottoming bear market that we didn't necessarily expect to find. I mean, from the cycle high down to the lowest point, we were at about a 52% correction. We're currently sitting at about a 45% correction, and I still think that we'll actually head a little bit lower here. But with that being said, guys, there's something interesting that I want to update you guys on. Now, from my last update, we were just kind of bouncing right about here. And I told you guys that I was going to be expecting a short-term bounce, and this was my resistance that I had drawn, this horizontal resistance level at about 78.74. And I told you guys that if we could clear above this, for the short term, we'd be bullish, but until we really broke out of this level at 78.80, and then we were actually able to clear out of this descending resistance, that was really the two things that I was watching for. But in fact, we went straight to my resistance zone and we rejected from that. We've actually had another big rise, and we actually wicked all the way back up, but we've actually sold off pretty significantly from that point. And so overall, it's not looking too bullish. it's looking more just like bearish consolidation before we have further downside back to my lower support levels. Now, with that being said, guys, there is a bullish case that I'm watching for, and it really just once again coexists kind of with this black horizontal resistance line. We have to clear this. If we can clear back above 78.80 and actually hold support, then I would expect us to be kind of moving in a 1, 3, and 5 Elliott wave impulse, something like this. 1, and then the 3 wave. I would like to see the 3 wave impulse outside of this descending resistance. Maybe we get something like this before we have a final 5 wave up. That would be the bullish case, and if this happened, then that would actually make me rethink my bearish strategy, because this would point that the descending resistance has been breached, and it's been breached with a positive bullish retest, because the 3 wave is supposed to be big enough that I would expect the 3 wave to actually break out of this descending resistance, and then the 4 wave would retrace back onto that trending resistance. And then the 4 wave would retrace back onto that trending resistance as support before we'd have one more final 5 wave impulse that could potentially take us back up to this near 10K level. And so that's what I'd be watching for the bullish case. Now, overall, I don't necessarily consider that my primary. I'm still expecting us to see further downside, especially with the big wick that we're getting here. It just looks more like bearish consolidation. I think it's more likely that this is a 1, this was a 3, and then we'll have our final 5 wave retrace to finish out this last bearish impulse down. Now, how low it's going to go, I don't really know exactly. That's why I've just drawn 3 different price targets that you guys can follow off of. And this is where I'm going to be looking to accumulate. Here at 63, here at 58, and then at 5,300. And so that's my analysis with Bitcoin. Next, we're actually going to be diving in, and I'm going to be sharing and explaining with you guys why I actually believe that XRP and Ethereum are going to see over $2 trillion in market cap by the end of this cycle. Now, you guys already know that I've talked about this in times past. For XRP to hit my target of $28, that requires XRP to have a market cap of roughly $2.8 trillion. So just under $3 trillion in total market cap. Now, many people, since my last video that I updated you guys and told you my price targets, many people have come and created a lot of backlash in the comment section. Many people just calling me stupid for even thinking these things. And it's quite honestly just comical, because the people that are saying this type of stuff were the same people that were saying that altcoins were dead back here and they were never going to pump, and that there was no point in investing in them because Bitcoin was the only solid crypto investment. And then we watch these things pull 1,000x, or at least close to. Now, I'm not expecting a 1,000x move out of XRP, but 100x seems very reasonable to me, which 100x would put us roughly between $20 and $30. And so with that being said, guys, I wanted to go through and actually talk about why I created my price targets and why I actually do believe that there's enough value in the world to send XRP to $28. Now, you guys know I've already talked about my updated targets with Ethereum. Now, based off of Ethereum and the Bitcoin cycles, I've kind of thought to myself for a while now that the most realistic places to take target or to take profits for Ethereum would be 5,000. I forgot my other target at 7,500. About 5,000, 7,500, 15K, and then 20K. Now, a lot of people will just automatically assume that I'm stupid for even thinking these things. Oh, what does this guy even know? This guy doesn't know anything about crypto. He doesn't understand how money works. But in fact, I've been here trading these cycles, then I can almost guarantee about 70 to 80% of you guys that watch my channel. And so because of that, I'm very confident in the things that I say. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm not so married to the possible outcome. And that's the big thing about investing, is you can't be married to one specific outcome happening. You have to have a plan in place and just trade the plan accordingly. Now, for me, guys, I watched Ethereum go from $8 to $1,450. Ethereum's currently worth $150, and I really would not be surprised if it follows kind of similarly to the last Bitcoin cycle that we saw, where Bitcoin bottomed at just under $200, went all the way down to like 160, and then we ended up impulsing all the way to 20K. And to be quite honest, guys, I would not write that off in the slightest for Ethereum's next move, because look at how much it dwarfed the last cycle. And this is really what I talked about in my last video with my price targets for Ethereum, is I'm expecting something along the lines of this. I want the last cycle to look something like this. And so realistically, guys, if we hit 20K, that dwarfs the last cycle pretty closely to that equivalent that I'd be looking to expect to see. And so these are going to be my price targets moving forward. Now for Ethereum to hit 20K, that's going to have over $2 trillion in market cap. And so now I'm actually going to dive in and explain in detail why I do believe that we will hit these insane price values inside of Ethereum, inside of XRP, and potentially many other altcoins for that matter. We have institutional adopters that are now entering this market for the first time. Previously, this was all just a speculative bubble, and it still really is, but it was a retail-driven bubble in times past, whereas now we have real institutions, real corporations with significant amount of money that are ready to deploy it into cryptocurrency. Now, it's not likely that every coin is going to get adopted, and in fact, most coins won't, but that's why you guys have to do your due diligence and figure out which ones have the best fundamental use case moving forward. To me, Ethereum and XRP are really a no-brainer. They're two of the best performing cryptos over the last 5 years. What more can you expect from a coin to get early adoption in the early awareness phase? And so I'm going to take you guys to a really cool infographic. I'll leave a link of this infographic in the description of this video so that you guys can actually find it. It is called demonocracy.info. Now, this place is really cool. The only problem that I have with it currently is the fact that it's not completely up to date. A lot of the actual values in here are a little outdated. I think they go back to about 2017 to even 2016. But it shows all the money in the world, how much money in the world is worth, the flow of money during financial crisis, net worth of world's richest people, net worth of world's biggest companies, the liquidity pyramid, aka Exter's inverted pyramid. And so we can see here that they break down this awesome infographic. You can see a $100 bill. This is what $10,000 looks like. Here's what $100 million looks like. And here's what $1 billion looks like. Now this is kind of an example of what $1 trillion would be. We can see this big semi-truck, this human here standing, and this is really $1 trillion. Now to think about it, guys, roughly about 23 stacks of these would equal the total debt in America. The total global debt's actually much significantly higher than that. Now, see guys, this is what I'm saying. Bitcoin, 14 billion market cap, January 2017. Bitcoin obviously has significantly more market cap than $14 billion, so it's not going to be totally up to date. But I'm just trying to show you guys how much money is actually in the world, how much value is like contained amongst everybody in the world, and how much of that value can realistically flood into cryptocurrency. Now, world's richest people. This obviously isn't up to date, but Warren Buffett, 66.7 billion, Bill Gates, 79.2 billion, Carlos Slim, 72.9 billion. Now, Jeff Bezos, I'm sure, is probably up here too at this point. And I think that these guys are all worth more than what it said, because this is data from 2014. So that's roughly 5 years old. Now, it'd be really cool if we could get an update to this demographic, because it would be interesting to see how much it's changed. But guys, some of the world's richest people in the world already have a bigger market cap. Some of the world's richest people already have more of a net worth than the biggest, than all of the altcoin market cap today. Now, it's crazy to think about that, because these are only 3 different people, when cryptocurrencies are these major corporations and projects that I expect to have a real use case moving forward in the world. Now, Ethereum was valued at over 100 billion at the top of the last cycle, and so that's roughly the same as what some of these single individuals are worth. Now, I'm no genius, but I'm a firm believer that Warren Buffett is not more valuable than maybe XRP, or he's not more valuable than Ethereum. It's just one single guy who made a bunch of money investing smartly. I mean, he does provide a lot of value to the world, but not nearly as the extent of what XRP or what Ethereum could do for businesses and banks. Now, world's biggest companies. This is obviously much bigger, because I'm pretty sure that Amazon is actually valued at over $1 trillion, and there could potentially be like Google, Microsoft, and Apple valued roughly about the same today. But we're going to go ahead and just continue to stick with this infographic. We can see that based off of how rich these companies are from 2014 timeframe, we can see that currently this is like 4 times the size of the altcoin market cap, roughly. About 4 times the size of Bitcoin's market cap. Especially if Bitcoin drops a little bit lower and we hit that $100 billion threshold, then it will be about 5 times as the size, 4 or 5 times the size, which is just insane, because these are just corporations, guys. I mean, is the iPhone really as valuable as Bitcoin itself? No, of course not. I see a lot more value tied around Bitcoin being a decentralized currency, being a store of value, being something that you can transact, being something that you can hold forever. Nobody can hack it, nobody can change it, manipulate it, over double spend. And so it's for these reasons that I'm actually much more bullish on Bitcoin, and it really puts this perspective as far as how undervalued we really are. So these people that are sitting here telling you guys that Bitcoin can't go up to these price levels, that cryptocurrencies, altcoins in general can't go to these price levels, do you guys really think that Microsoft or Apple is really more valuable than some of these cryptocurrency projects? I personally don't agree with that. Now, probably the average retail investor will, but you guys got to remember, and I always point you guys to this little fact, out of the 100% of people who invest and trade in a financial market, only 10% of those will average a profitable return. So literally 90% of the people that are in cryptocurrency right now are not profiting. 90% of people that are investing in the stock market are not profiting. And so you guys got to remember that. In the long run, the average person's not going to be able to profit. In fact, it goes closer to an 80 to 20 to a 90 to 10 ratio. Now, this shows all investments in the world, gold and silver. Gold, I believe gold currently is worth about $7 trillion in market cap, and so it's not going to be totally accurate here, but $7 trillion in market cap, I do believe that Bitcoin has a strong enough fundamental use case that it will at least have the same market cap as gold. So at a $7 trillion market cap for gold, that would actually equate about a $400,000 Bitcoin. Now, that's really crazy, guys, and it's not that crazy to actually put it into perspective. I mean, gold, yes, it's been a store of value forever, and we've used it for so long, but I mean, we're moving towards a digital age. Already, the majority of our money that we transact every single day is already digital, and so why the heck wouldn't we adopt a sound money that is digital, that's efficient, and actually has scarcity? And this is actually way more scarce than gold. Bitcoin is way more scarce than gold. We can go mine gold out of the ground, and there's an abundance of it in the ground. Sure, it's kind of hard to get to, and we have to use heavy machinery to mine it, but with Bitcoin, it's roughly the same, except it's more scarce, and it becomes even harder to get out. And so this is why I think that Bitcoin has a real use case as far as gold goes. We'll still use gold, but I think Bitcoin being a store of value, being something we can transact peer-to-peer, on top of that, it's even more scarce than gold. A lot of the times what we happen is gold can actually be manipulated, and so there can be new gold that's added that's more fake gold, and this is something that happens quite regularly inside the gold market. You can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't change it. You can't manipulate it. It's whatever it's going to be is what it's going to be. Now, this takes us to base money and bank money. Now, basically what base money and bank money is what we're transacting every single day, and then what the bank holds and what the bank loans out. Now, what's interesting to me is this is valued at 28 trillion and 50 trillion. So roughly $78 trillion worth of monetary exchange that we are exchanging every single day, right? Now, that's $78 trillion. Is it really that crazy to think 10 to 20 trillion of that can't go into cryptocurrency? No, it's not, guys. I mean, if you really break down what XRP is and kind of the vision that I have and the reason why I'm such a big investor in it, is because, guys, we have this decentralized revolution with blockchain technology, and we have the current economic system with banking. Now, there has to be a medium of both of those. There's no way that the banking institution is just going to fully adopt Bitcoin and fully adopt all of these decentralized applications, because that's just unlikely, guys. There has to be a medium point. There has to be a bridgeway connecting the two polar opposites. And to me, that is XRP. And I don't see how that's such a hard thing to understand for most people. But with XRP, they're seeking out banks. And that's exactly why everybody in the crypto community hates XRP. Now, to me, guys, that's just a reason to invest. Like, I don't know why everybody gets so salty about that idea. I get the whole idea of the Bitcoin freedom movement, the whole libertarian agenda that was pushed around Bitcoin at the start. I get that, guys, because that's literally my reason why I got so passionate about cryptocurrency. But the more that I see Bitcoin develop, the more I see how the actual world works, the more I realize that Bitcoin's more centralized than even the dollar is. And if you guys do your own research and look into this stuff, you're going to come to the same conclusions. I mean, there's been multiple interviews done with FBI agents, CIA personnel, and they all say that Bitcoin is much more centralized because once we get to a point where we have institutions that are actually seeing all of the transactions happening and taking place on the Bitcoin blockchain, it's not going to be hard till we start implementing KYC verification, which is just know your client. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to start uploading our personal documents to prove our identities and prove which addresses are which. And it's only going to take one corporation, one entity to be able to see, okay, this person, D.I.Y. investing, he is connected to this address, and I can have his ID proving that. That's what's going to happen in the future, guys. And everybody's going to know exactly who's sending what money. Think about Mt. Gox. We know what addresses stole all of the money from Mt. Gox. Think about the Bitfinex hack. We know which address holds all of those stolen Ether, stolen Bitcoin, stolen whatever they stole. We can see that because it's posted to a public ledger. And so it's for those reasons that this freedom, this big libertarian movement around Bitcoin is honestly just the selling point of the early days. And the more that it progresses, the more it gets adopted, the more regulations that take place, the less of that freedom movement is there. And so I want to make that very clear with you guys. I'm not a firm believer that Bitcoin's anonymous because it's obviously not. It's much more centralized than the current system, and that's something we all have to be aware of. And if that's something that bothers you, that's why you should do your due diligence and invest in something like XMR, invest in something like Zcash. And I'm not telling you guys to do that. That's not financial advice. I'm just explaining to you guys the fact of the matter is Bitcoin isn't as anonymous as we'd like to believe it is, or what we were told when we first got into cryptocurrency. And so it's for those reasons, guys, that I actually think that XRP is going to bridge that gap. And I think that through all of the banking money that's out there in the world, take a look, guys, $78 trillion. And that's just the money that we're sending, that's sitting in bank accounts, that's sitting in funds and things like that. That's the money that we have access to every day, that we can pull out, that we can cash out, that we can send to one another. And so why is it so crazy to think that XRP could have a market cap of $2.8 trillion? Because it's not. If all of these major banks are actually adopting XRP as a global payment system, these guys are the people with trillions of dollars because they're the ones with our money. It only makes sense to me that XRP is a multi-trillion-dollar market cap idea. And if you can't see that, there's no saving you guys, unfortunately. It's the same people that talk so much shit on crypto right now. They're the same people that are going to be FOMOing in and buying all of our bags at the top of the next cycle. I've been preparing for this moment. I personally see the vision of these cryptocurrencies and these blockchain projects. I see the value that these possess. And it only makes sense to me that they're going to continue to perform well. And so that's kind of just my overall thought on that. Now, if we take a look at government bonds, we have another $58 trillion. And so if I bust out my calculator real quick, between bank money and base money and global bonds, we have $136 trillion right there alone. $136 trillion. Now, I just barely read some infographics, and it actually showed that about 20% of current active bonds in the world that exist, and I can't remember if it's the total world or if it's just American bonds from the US government, 20% of those are now yielding a negative return. And so it's apparent to most people at this point that bonds are no longer a safe haven for your assets. No longer to put your money in those and then you can guarantee that they'll stay at least the same value or appreciate over time. And so people are going to start pulling out of those. What happens when we kind of bypass the whole government bonds and we start trusting a more sustainable system like Bitcoin? Guys, that's $58 trillion. If only a small amount of this went into Bitcoin, say $10 trillion, damn, Bitcoin's already worth over $600,000 per Bitcoin. And that's what I can't stress enough to you guys. Out of all of the total value in the world, there is a significant amount that can go into cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin. And with blockchain technology, guys, this is literally the future of all infrastructure of our everyday life. Will be put, will be stored, will be transacted on the Bitcoin blockchain. Not only the Bitcoin blockchain, but all the blockchains in general. Bitcoin's just going to be that store of value and potentially even a global currency at that point. And so it's for those reasons, guys, that I see immense value inside of cryptocurrency. I see us moving towards a digital age, and all of this value is going to be put on a blockchain at some point. Whether you believe Bitcoin's the future, whether you believe XRP is the future, whether you believe it's a different cryptocurrency altogether, it literally does not matter. What you have to look at is the fact that blockchain technology, not any cryptocurrency, but the blockchain technology itself is where we get all of this value from. Now, it only makes sense that blockchain technology being a public ledger, being all of these great things that we can use to make information unhackable, immutable, we can make it instant, we can make it so anybody has access to it anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. It only makes sense that all of our current information, all of our current databases, all of our current technology is all going to be put and stored upon these new blockchain systems. And that is my personal vision for blockchain technology. And I do believe that this is what's going to happen. Now, if you're somebody that believes in blockchain tech, but you can't see all of the value in the world that could potentially go into Bitcoin for that matter, then you're not going to make any money off of this. And this being a speculative market, it's very important that you understand exactly how money can flood into cryptocurrency, understand how the technology of cryptocurrency works, being the blockchain, and understand exactly how all of this kind of ties together in this new age, and we can see exactly how adoption can start to take place. And that's why I'm so bullish on cryptocurrency, guys. It's because cryptocurrency is the first technology to implement blockchain. It's going to be the first big bubble that we see. But with that being said, it's really the underlying technology that gives it all of the value. It's not necessarily the cryptocurrency itself, it's the blockchain technology. And that's what I can't stress to you guys enough. Out of all, between base money, bank money, and corporate bonds, or government bonds, I should say, that's $136 trillion. Why could 10 trillion of that, why couldn't 50 trillion of that go into cryptocurrency? It can, it very much can, and I believe that it will. Personally, what I see the total world as would be about, I could see total cryptocurrency market cap being anywhere from 50 to 80 trillion dollars by the end, not this cycle, maybe not even the next cycle, but probably 10 to 15 years down the line. That's where I see all of the market cap of cryptocurrency. Now, this takes us to the next part. Total, all the stocks and corporate bonds in the world, $116 trillion. $116 trillion. So we had 136 trillion plus 116 trillion comes out to $252 trillion just between these three things. Now, guys, this is a significant amount of money. The stock market itself will be developing blockchain technology, and all of these big corporations that have these stocks, I think, will implement blockchain technology, and it's going to have to go through cryptocurrency to get there. Now, with cryptocurrencies, we can value the actual stock. Instead of using the stock market, we can actually start to value it in terms of the cryptocurrency itself, like Binance Coin. I'll use Binance Coin as an example. I've always envisioned Binance Coin as being more of just like, if you buy Binance Coin, yes, you get a reduction in trading fees, but overall, by buying Binance Coin, you're basically buying stock of Binance itself, which is the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. And I think that a lot of other companies are going to actually implement that. Instead of having a stock share, they'll have cryptocurrencies that you can buy, which will function the exact same, or maybe an STO, or maybe something along those lines. And guys, this is a lot of money. This is a lot of money, over $200 trillion just in what I've explained in these three demographics. Why is it crazy to think that 50 to 80 trillion of that cannot go into cryptocurrency? Because I do believe it will. There is a lot of money in the world. Now, this is really my favorite part of all of this because we have yet to find an efficient way to actually transact real estate on a global scale. Now, $290 trillion, the value of all private business and real estate in the world. This is my favorite adoption case for cryptocurrency, and it's really the dark horse that I expect to just bring so much value to the overall market cap of Bitcoin, to the overall market cap of these other cryptocurrencies, and really just be the biggest driver of blockchain technology in general. Because guys, I mean, think about it from this way, and this is the way that I explain it to other people, friends, family, people I know. Let's say I'm a man, well, let's just say here I am in USA, I'm me, D.I.Y. investing, and I have an acre of land, or I don't know what everybody else would call it in other countries that watch this channel, but let's say I have an acre of land. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. Let's say I have an acre of land, and I want to sell it to a person in China. Well, for me to do that, it's really hard currently because we have language barriers. On top of that, we don't really have an effective way for me to just buy land from these other countries. I mean, sure that there's ways to go about doing it through real estate businesses, but it's much, much harder than it needs to be. I mean, I have to go through all of these contracts, licensing, agreements to even buy the land. It's going to take a significant amount of time for all of that to process and go through because each company has to go through a different company to get the okay from this company. And it's just this big complex cycle that doesn't need to exist. Now, how about we have a blockchain? And this is where it solves all of these problems. How about we have a blockchain and we have a cryptocurrency? And through that cryptocurrency, we have smart contracts and agreements, right? Let's say I have this acre of land and I peg it to the value of this cryptocurrency. I say that this acre of land is valued in this cryptocurrency. It's just pegged to whatever the crypto is. And I don't know exactly how it would work or anything, but with that comes a smart contract and an agreement, right? The man in Russia and me, D.I.Y. investing, we come to the agreements and we fill out the agreements in this ledger, this public ledger, or it can be a private ledger, depending on how we want it to go about doing it. And then we say, okay, you give me this price or you give me this value for my acre of land and I will send you that acre of land. And we can now send that information through the blockchain. We can send that value of whatever the land was worth through the blockchain, through the public ledger, and nobody can change that. Nobody can manipulate any of the agreements. We can put the money in escrow so that neither of us have access to it until both agreements have been met. And boom, the man in China now owns an acre of land here in America. It was quick. It was efficient. We didn't have to go through all of these different corporations to send and receive the value. And that's now how the blockchain works for private business real estate in the world. And I could be wrong with how I was explaining that. I'm sure that there's much easier ways to go about doing it. But what you guys are failing to see is we don't have an efficient way to take all of the value of land and real estate in the world and put that on a platform so that we can buy, sell, and trade that freely, peer-to-peer, efficiently, effectively. And we now do with blockchain technology. And that's why I am so bullish on blockchain technology. That's why I see such a major use case for these altcoins moving forward. Not all of them. Many of them will die out, and I do believe that. But there are plenty of them out there that are going to hold the course of Bitcoin's bear markets. They're going to continue on their upward trend. And what's going to come is, instead of valuing everything in terms of US dollars, we're going to be looking at everything in terms of utility. How much utility does it actually provide to the world around us? And that's the most important aspect. To me, guys, Ethereum, to me, XRP, to me, Bitcoin, all of these provide a ton of utility in the world. Bitcoin can be a store of value. Not only that, but we can transact it equally, peer-to-peer, efficiently. Sure, it's not the most efficient cryptocurrency, but it's much more efficient than gold is. Or take a look at XRP. We now have a way for banks to send any amount of money anywhere in the world quickly, efficiently, effectively, immutable. Nobody can change it. Nobody can hack it. Nobody can do any of these things. They can't reverse the transactions. Governments can't come in and take for themselves. They could if they potentially pose regulations and taxes, which will come to a point. But the biggest point that I'm explaining to you guys is just how important all of this stuff is. With Ethereum, you have decentralized applications and smart contracts. Smart contracts are going to be so major for the entire world of business for the future. Not just business, but governments are going to be able to start implement this. The average retail investor, maybe I want to send you something. Maybe I want to sell you something. Maybe I want to come to an agreement with marriage, whatever the hell it might be. We can now do this on the blockchain. And nobody can say otherwise. Nobody can change the rules because it's programmed the way it's going to be forever. Now, this is my biggest reason why I'm so bullish on crypto. I've gone through and gave you guys a ton of information. I'm not going to keep going into this because you guys can see that there's a stupid amount of money out there in the world. I mean, a quadrillion worth of derivatives. I don't really want to get into what a derivative is because it's honestly really confusing. But I just wanted to share with you guys the total value of the world itself and how much money there is that exists out there. and how much money can actually go into cryptocurrency. I'm a firm believer in the technology of blockchain tech. I'm a firm believer that these cryptocurrencies are going to perform really well, especially with all this new institutional money that's going to start flooding into it. XRP is a big coin that I'm investing in, and you guys know the reasons why. I do believe it's a bridgeway between the decentralized movement and the current banking system that we have today. And the only way for the current money of the banking institution to flood into these decentralized applications is through coins like XRP. Now, who knows if XRP is going to continue to hold the course of the entire 10, 15 years down the line. But what I can say for the right now, it's such a great investment because we do need that bridgeway point as of right now. And that's why I'm such a bull on XRP. I'm such a bull on Bitcoin because it has so much more use case as far as what we normally view gold as. On top of that, you got Ethereum, which Ethereum is just going to be the future of business. They're trying to create a smart computer and just run the entire world from that point. And I do believe that it has a significant use case. If in fact they can develop the right infrastructure to do all of this, they can handle with their block sizes, they can handle all of the transactions. It's not going to get too overloaded. And with that being said, guys, we're just at the early stages. I mean, if you take a look at the internet bubble, we're basically like the mid-1990s as far as what cryptocurrency is today. Maybe even closer to the early first 2000s. And that's when nobody really knew about the internet. Nobody used it. It was confusing. It was complicated. It was really hard. And that's basically where we're at with cryptocurrency. The average retail investor cannot get into these. They can't figure it out. They don't want to figure it out because it is very complex. You have to be a pretty smart individual to know how to go about doing this. And you have to dedicate a lot of time to figure it out. So anyways, guys, this has been a pretty long video. I wanted to go through and explain exactly why I believe that there's so much hidden value inside of the world today. I actually already made a YouTube video talking about this demographic, but it was back when nobody followed my channel. And it's a really important topic that I want you guys to understand because this is really the reason why I have these price targets drawn. I'm not your average retail investor that you see on crypto Twitter that'll post, oh, XRP to $590, and literally the only reason they came to that conclusion was because they took the last cycle and layered it over the current cycle. I'm not that dumb, guys. I've done my research into this stuff. I'm a very logical and practical thinker. I wouldn't come up with these price targets if I didn't truly believe they could go to that level, because at that point, I'm not only doing myself, I'm not only hurting myself, but I'm hurting you guys that follow my channel. I'm not here to spread hopium, false lies, and just make these dumb accusations, because at the end of the day, I truly want the best for everybody that follows me, everybody that's subscribed to my channel. I want you guys to make life-changing amounts of money, because my ultimate motto for this channel, and if you guys take a look at my Twitter, I've literally told you guys since the beginning, my ultimate goal of this channel is to help other people obtain financial freedom and independence. That's what I want of this. And I wouldn't be showing you guys outlandish price targets if I didn't think that these cryptocurrencies will actually hit these levels. And to be completely honest, with the amount of money in the world, these other cryptos could go much higher than the price targets that I have drawn. It might not be this cycle, it might be 4 years down the line, but no matter what, guys, I do see the value in this, and that's why I wanted to make this video for you. Make sure that we're all on the same page. If you continue to hate after watching this video and seeing how much money is actually out there in the world, then you're not going to be the person making cryptocurrency gains. You're going to be the person that's more just ignorant towards the fact, or you're just going to be too skeptical, and it's that fear that's going to keep you from making those life-changing gains. I'm here 100% invested into cryptocurrency. You guys know that. Literally 100% of my net worth is tied to the value of these cryptocurrencies, and I have zero emotional attachment. And the reason why is because I am so confident in the technology that is being built and developed under these cryptocurrency projects. Anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. If you found this video helpful, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more updates. If you guys want access to the early adopters list of my cryptocurrency course and signals, it's 50% off until the new year, January 1st, 2020. Make sure that you guys check that out. Leave a comment. You can email me. My email is in the description of this video, or you can join my Discord and message me on there. Either way, you guys are definitely going to want to get a part of that. I'm uploading a lot of really detailed videos that are going to teach you guys exactly how I invest, all of my strategies, all of the things that I've learned and accumulated for over 3.5 years of being in cryptocurrency. and it's honestly invaluable. The amount of stuff that I'm teaching you guys is going to really help you out if you're somebody that's looking to learn how to invest for themselves, or if you're just looking to copy my own personal investments. So make sure you guys check that out. But with all that being said, guys, I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.